What's up, y'all? It's Nate Almighty, and guess what? I'm back with another Raising Kanan theory and prediction, all right? So, I've seen people entertain this theory of Famous being Breeze, right? So what I want to do is, just to have fun, I want to theorize how Famous could become Breeze if Famous ends up being Breeze, right? But first, disclaimer, I don't believe Famous is Breeze. I think Famous may die right before Breeze comes around. But I also think that however he went out, Kanan respected him enough to name his son after him. Which definitely means when he died, he did not betray Kanan before that, or Kanan would definitely not name his son after him, right? So, me personally, I think D-Wiz brother is Breeze. Not Ronnie, not Unique, nobody. I think D-Wiz brother is Breeze, and it's gonna be somebody who, it's gonna be an actor who we all know, but we have no idea he's gonna be in the show. This is gonna be an actor with range. An actor who is charismatic, and he also could play the bad guy to the T, right? But let's speculate how Famous could become Breeze if he was Breeze, okay? And this is considering the fact that he is who he is now. Somebody who's green behind the ears. Everybody try to say he ain't built like that, but this is also somebody who life will make you like that. You know what I'm saying? This is somebody who he got kicked out of his mother crib, getting high and all that, smashing chicks in his mother crib. He needed to make money. So what he did is he tried to rob Freddie, almost got killed by Freddie. He ended up killing Freddie. But when you look at the scenes of him in season 3, he looks like he's just in the fold. He chilling. Like he killed somebody and he's over it already, right? So that could already be an early sign of Famous eventually becoming Breeze. Now look, I know you're gonna question this. It's like, how does Famous go from being famous to ending up changing his name to Breeze, and then in a way being a leader over Kanan, Ghost, and Tommy? And I would like to say that it's possible that Kanan and Famous were more like business partners, and maybe Famous, who would have became Breeze, was more like the number one. But I'm gonna explain why he would be number one and what could have ultimately led to Kanan wanting to kill Breeze, aka Famous, if that's the situation, okay? And it could start with Famous taking a charge for Kanan. Famous taking a charge for Kanan. Everybody thinking Famous gonna rat, right? Everybody thinking Famous gonna rat, and he don't rat. So now here's the thing, right? And this is because we still don't know if they'll give us like a time skip all the way at the end of the season. We don't know if season 4 start and the time skip already happened. So let me theorize this, right? Famous takes a charge for Kanan. Famous goes to jail. Famous doesn't have a record, so maybe he does time, but he don't do that much time. Maybe he only does like a year or two. And within that year or two, right, Famous ends up becoming more of a savage in jail. We talking about early 90s prison. So we talking about, it's easier to get scalpels. It's easier to get razors, stuff like that. This is when you go to Rikers Island and you allowed to wear your jewelry. You allowed to wear your Jordans, all your fly clothes. So he would be going into a very hostile environment where we could see him be soft first, get bullied around, and then become tough. And by the time he comes home, it could be what, who said it? Was it Kanan or Ghost? I believe it was Kanan who said Breeze was strong, but he wasn't that smart streetwise. And if you can relate that to what we know of Famous already, he not strong yet, but we seen the introduction of it, which could have started with him killing Freddie. Right? He ain't strong yet, but that could happen in jail. That can happen in prison. Okay? That can happen in prison. And then this is how he may end up having more power than Kanan in the hood. And that's if Famous comes home. And then here's the thing about jail, where you go to jail, your nickname changes when you're in jail. I went into jail as Julius, Juju. That was my name in the hood. Right? Because of my voice and the way I talk, my nickname ended up being Nas to a lot of people. Sometimes you earn your nickname in jail. And for whatever reason, his nickname ended up being Breeze. He comes home, and how he ends up having power over Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan is he meets a Puerto Rican plug while he's in prison. This is a storyline, right? This is a storyline. This is an angle that we hadn't seen for real yet in Power. Because if you want to be realistic, and we're talking about early 90s and we're talking about plugs, Famous to come home at a time where Kanan, he already mastered the weed game. And at this point, he got Ghost and Tommy under the wing. Kanan and Ghost real close because maybe Symphony is his father. And Symphony and Raquel back kicking it, which means Ghost was around, young Ghost. And then Ghost, through defending Tommy, they link up. And they doing their weed thing for a year or two. Famous comes home. By that point, Kanan is like, yo, like, I'm trying to work with this girl. I'm trying to get that powder. And Famous is like, yo, I got the plug. I met the plug, you know what I mean? I did a favor for him or such and such. You know what I mean? I met the plug, and they come home, and the plug is like, yo, listen, the Moreno, I'm not doing business with him. I don't know him. I know you. So that way immediately put Famous, who would be Breeze at this point, because he came home and changed his name. He wouldn't want to be known as Famous the rapper. By that point, he's like, yo, I don't care about none of that. I don't care about none of that, right? I want to get this money. I want to run the streets, right? He would then have power over Kanan in a way, even though Kanan would be his number 2. But that could have ended up, making his head big, pause. And then that could lead to the point where Kanan is like, Breeze has to die. For whatever reason, the business is suffering because of him, or maybe he figured out a way to get cool with the Connect, and then he's like, yo, Famous is trying to act like a boss. He's not a boss. And then they end up killing him. And then this could also explain why Ghost was fond of Breeze, if Breeze was Famous, because of how close Kanan and Famous was. And if Famous took a charge for Kanan, right, and then came home, they would be the best of friends in the beginning. And we could have a situation where, for a couple years, everything was good. But then it just started going sour. I think that'd be cool to see that. Even though Famous is probably not Breeze, I still think it's D.Wa's brother. But that angle wouldn't be bad to me. And then here's another thing, right? If Famous is already locked up and he took a charge, right? He took a charge for Kanan. The 1 or 2 or 3 years that Famous is locked up, getting his weight up in jail, getting tougher and tougher, he could have met who would eventually be Sean's mother and named Sean, right? After Famous, before Famous comes home. So then for the people who would question, why would he name Sean after Famous and then end up killing Famous? It'd be because he had to do it for business. But he had already named Sean. So it's like, yeah, he loved Famous, but Famous had to go. Famous had to go. And he figured out a way to convince Ghost that Famous was in all of their way, aka Breeze. You know what I mean? I'm in it here. I know people gonna think it's a reach, but I just wanted to have fun with it. Y'all let me know what y'all think of this theory, right? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.